Hello again, YouTube. It's Skylar. Welcome back to my face. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I eat healthy food on a budget. So before we get into it, if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe. It really does help keep me motivated to make videos and better videos. Every subscriber counts. Also, nothing in this video should be taken as medical advice. I am not a doctor. I am just a YouTuber explaining my own personal experiences. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. So when I talk about eating healthy on a budget, what I'm referring to is instead of having all of these expensive luxury type meals, which typically cost a lot more, there's kind of a spectrum between that and freeze-dried store-bought food. So you kind of have like a bit of a spectrum between on the health gauge where it's just like all fresh healthy vegetables and then all freeze-dried. That's kind of just the spectrum that I'm going to use as the analysis. What I find is that when you're on a budget, sometimes you can't always afford the healthiest stuff. You kind of have to gravitate more towards the freeze-dried stuff, the bulk stuff, the canned stuff. And rather than just conceding that, oh, I'm just going to eat all this, canned food and freeze-dried food and all this because I can't afford all the healthy premium stuff, I've kind of found a middle ground for myself where you can still have all of the freeze-dried canned goods, bulk products. But if you learn how to incorporate the healthy and the more fresh stuff into that, you kind of get this like almost of a hodgepodge of healthy and not healthy to where it's kind of the middle ground without sacrificing too much of a budget. So one example that I'd like to refer to here is things like making food in bulk. So if you're not used to cooking your own meals, I cook all of my own meals when I have time. Sometimes I have to eat the frozen thing, but that's, just the way it goes. But I always prefer to cook my own meals. What I found is that if you make a giant batch of food and then you have enough that can last you 2 or 3 days, that in of itself is going to save you a lot of time and money. So you can think of things like pastas and rice, things that are, the bulk of the food. And then you add like meat or fish with some vegetables. And it works. As long as you have enough spices and stuff, you can make that work and save yourself a lot of time and money by doing these bulk meals. And then you just partition them out. So like typically like I'll make a pot of food like this much, right? And it's just me, so I don't have to worry about, feeding anybody else. And you do like a giant batch of pasta or a giant batch of rice. And then you mix in like canned vegetables or fresh vegetables or like meat. You can buy meat frozen and then thaw it out, and it's a little bit cheaper than it is to buy it fresh and cook it that way. And there's all these different things that you can do. And even with fresh produce, there's a lot of really easy workarounds for incorporating vegetables into your food, because you don't have to buy an entire sack of potatoes, for $5-6. You can buy one potato at a time, and it's only going to be like 50 cents. If you're only going to be using that one potato for that meal, there's options of celery sticks or carrot sticks that are sold literally as individual sticks. Like you can buy, like there's some grocery stores where you can buy one carrot or one celery stick at a time, and it only costs like 10 cents. And so you just, take that and chop it up. I would highly recommend cooking the celery and the carrots before putting it into anything, because raw carrots are very hard to. If you have a nice meal with raw carrots in it, it's not gonna work. So you always cook the carrots first or the celery first and then put it in. And it's just finding little workarounds like that. But definitely like building meals in giant bulks, or even like even the freeze dried stuff. They have like little freeze dried, like beef stroganoff, or like, you know, the freeze dried little pasta dishes. Like all of those you can still make and then add actual healthy fresh stuff to that. And that actually will, kind of counterbalance the fact that it's all freeze dried sodium. And then you end up with a situation where you have more food. And in my opinion, having more food is better. And rice isn't typically that expensive, but it really bulks up when you actually cook it. So like a 10-pound bag of rice might cost like $10, $20. But that 10 pounds of rice, if you spread it out, it's going to last you a long time. And it really doesn't take that long to cook rice. You put it in the pot and then you add water and then it cooks. And, your rice cooker, just make sure you cover it up so that the steam doesn't get away, because you want the steam to stay in so that it absorbs all that moisture. But it's a lot easier to eat on a budget than you really think. And I actually didn't learn this until I was on a budget, when the price of food skyrocketed. And I was like, oh, well, now I gotta like figure because, the carton of eggs is gonna be like $10. Well, now you gotta figure out like, okay, well, is that eggs really worth it? What things do eggs go in? Like, is that scrambled omelet really gonna, be my money's worth for the day? And all these different things. But you end up finding these workarounds where, maybe you don't make a giant batch of scrambled eggs. Maybe you only use one egg at a time and you put it in the rice, or you put it in this. And it's generally just kind of like, experimenting and seeing what works better for you. Because, everybody has their own tastes. Everybody has the things that they like and the things that they don't like. And so it really just comes down to experimenting and finding, hey, is this something that I feel like I could eat 3-4 days in a row? And then you only have to cook 2 or 3 times a week. And, you can always just add different sauces or different spices, and now it's a completely different dish. Or even take the pasta and or the rice, and instead of adding red meat, add fish, or, vice versa. Or instead of green beans, add corn. And you kind of play around with it, and you just find like, yeah, unless you're a picky eater, you can save a lot of money this way by just cooking things that way. Because, like, yeah, a corn on the cob is going to cost you about the same as the canned corn, but maybe the green beans aren't, or maybe this, or maybe buying bulk pinto beans or things like that. And yeah, it takes a little extra work because you have to soak them overnight, then rehydrate them, but really, the more involved in the process you get, the more involved in actually preparing the food, you will save a lot of money. Because the same things that I just mentioned with the pasta and the rice and this and that, if you were just to go to the frozen aisle and just buy everything frozen, or it's gonna cost a lot more money than if you just make it in bulk yourself. So that's really all I had to say, because I know the price of food has gone up like astronomically, and hopefully this helps anybody out there that wants to save some extra money and still try to not, eat as healthy as they can. But with that said, if you enjoy my content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And if you'd like, please leave a respectful message down in the comment section below. I love hearing from you guys. It really helps motivate me to make better videos. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.